Brick, like a house, like a house. My brethren, I'm going to read something from the book of Luke that I read fairly often. And it always kind of reminds me of something in 1 Timothy 4. Right? My parents are dead. Right? And so for some reason, in their Bible, there was some things highlighted, but not many. This was highlighted, almost like, oh my gosh, one of them knew that we were living possibly in the last days, right? And so the Spirit explicitly says that in latter times some will fall away from the faith, paying attention to deceitful spirits and doctrines of demons, by means of hypocrisy of liars, seared in their own conscience as with a branding iron. Men who forbid marriage and advocate abstaining from foods which God has created to be gratefully shared in by those who believe and know the truth. And if you know the truth, you know Jesus Christ. So I put that out there, kind of lining up when I read this part of Luke, just to kind of show you how we got there, right? Following deceitful doctrine of demons, devils, etc. Right? And so these words I'm about to speak are the words of Jesus Christ. They're in red letters, right? And it's speaking of this generation. Right now. Right now. This generation is a wicked generation. It seeks a sign, and yet no sign shall be given to it but the sign of Jonah. For just as Jonah became a sign to the Ninevites, so shall the Son of Man be to his generation. The queen of the south shall rise up with the men of this generation at the judgment and condemn them, because she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. And behold, something greater than Solomon is here. The men of Nineveh shall stand up with this generation at the judgment and condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and behold, something greater than Jonah is here. Now, we're talking the sign of Jonah here. I never really even heard the words in my life, right? The sign of Jonah, right? But these are, it would make sense that these are not things that are discussed in church, right? A wicked generation who seeks a sign. No sign shall be given to you but the sign of Jonah. And what is the sign of Jonah? Anybody that does not know the story, Jonah was a man who, long story short, he was a prophet. He did not want to obey God in any way, shape, or form. He gets onto a boat. And kind of like the story of Christ walking on water, the boat starts taking on water, and after all the other men from Nineveh, he was actually going in the opposite direction of Nineveh. He was not listening to God. But they all prayed to their little g gods. So after they all prayed to their little g gods, then they asked Jonah, right? And Jonah says, yeah, just throw me. Throw me out into the water, and you'll survive. Throw him into the water. He gets swallowed up by a whale for 3 days and 3 nights. Now, there's other places in Scripture where we're talking about a period of darkness in this generation that we're currently living in. Right? And so, the men from Nineveh, they're going to rise. This generation. And they will be rewarded for it. The Queen of the South, Queen Sheba, she's on her way. She's on her way. And there has to be something with this. We just had a harvest moon, right? We have a queen who's in the Bible a few times, Old Testament and New Testament, Queen Sheba, or Queen of the South, right? So we have these pieces that we can put together that kind of tell a story especially the part about the exact generation that we're living in right now. My brethren, heed the words that I speak, they are the truth.